Hello everyone and welcome back to the Call of Duty Diamonds YouTube channel. And today I'm going to be focusing on 5 of the best class ups you can use for Warzone. Without further ado, let's get into this. So the first class I recommend you guys using is going to be the M4A1 with the HDR as a secondary. Here are the attachments. The monolithic suppressor is the first one. This is going to increase your damage range and also suppress your weapon, therefore giving you extra range and a nice suppressed sound. Next up, the stock M16 Grenadier. This increases your bullet range, your bullet velocity, your recoil control, all of that kind of stuff, and therefore giving you a lot better accuracy and a lot nicer range on the weapon. Next up is going to be the Integral Hybrid Sight. This is going to increase your accuracy and range quite a bit, and it also has 2 different zoom varieties, one for close range and one for long range, so it is perfect for any counter. Next up is going to be the 60 round mags. The 60 round mags are definitely going to be good, but if you guys haven't unlocked those yet, then you can use the 50 round mags. Some people might not have unlocked the 60 round mags yet, but I recommend you guys, as soon as you unlock the 60 round mags, I recommend you guys sticking those on. It might be a bit difficult at first to stick them on because you don't have it unlocked, because it might take a while to level up your weapons, but I do recommend you guys at least sticking on one extended mags because they are super helpful. Next up is going to be the Ranger foregrip attachment. This is going to help your recoil control and aiming stability, and this overall, as you guys can see, it makes the accuracy super high, makes the range a little bit nicer, and it also makes the control a little bit higher as well. Therefore, this weapon is super accurate. Next up is going to be the HDR. The HDR is probably one of the best snipers for Warzone at the moment, so I do strongly advise you giving it a go. Now, I haven't actually unlocked the monolithic suppressor yet, because you unlock that at level 33, but once you do unlock it, I recommend you guys sticking on the monolithic suppressor. But for now, I have been using either the lightweight suppressor or the breacher device. These just basically increase your range and all of that kind of stuff. So the monolithic suppressor is going to increase your range and also increase your sound suppression on your weapon, therefore giving your weapon a nice suppressed sound, and it will be a lot more helpful. Next up is going to be the 26.9 inch HDR Pro barrel. This is going to increase your damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control, so overall it's going to give this weapon a lot better range, and it's also going to give the weapon a little bit more control. So when you're trying to get those people out those long distances, your weapon isn't going to be swaying all over the place. You're going to have a nice control on the weapon, and you should be able to kill those people at any ranges with absolute ease. Next up, it's going to be the must-have attachment on the snipers. Everyone is using it, and that is going to be the thermal sniper scope. The thermal sniper scope is super good. You can see people at every single range, and they're going to obviously light up on your thermal scope, and you're going to be able to see absolutely everyone unless they are using cold-blooded, because that does counter it. A lot of people nowadays are using cold-blooded, so you can actually go ahead and swap it out for something else if you want to. Next up is going to be the stock attachment, and I like to use the first one. This is because it increases my ADS speed, and having a faster aim down sight speed is very helpful, especially with a sniper, because let's say for example you're in a 1v1 with another sniper. It's going to be super helpful that you can aim down the sight faster than the other enemy, because this is going to help you win more gunfights. Lastly, it's going to be the 9 round mags, and the reason for this is because this is going to help you when you don't have to reload as often. If you're in the last circle and you have to reload your sniper, you could end up dying, and this is going to definitely make you lose a lot more games. So I do recommend you guys sticking on extended mags. For the perks, I recommend you guys sticking on cold-blooded, so you guys are hidden off of people's thermal scopes, and overkill, and then tune up as the last perk. Tune up is going to allow you to revive your teammates faster, so this is going to be super helpful. With cold-blooded, it's going to allow you to be off their thermal scope, so that's going to be super helpful as well. Also, for the perk 3, you can actually go ahead and use battle hardened if you're playing solo, or if you are also playing solo, you can play amped. And amped is going to allow you to swap your weapons faster, which is very helpful when you're using a sniper and an assault rifle in the same class. You can quickly switch from weapon to weapon, and you should have no problem with that at all. For the tactical and lethal, the C4 and heartbeat sensor are very good at the moment. They're super helpful in any any incident. So let's say, for example, there's a whole entire team in a truck coming at you. You can easily wipe out the whole entire team with that one C4. Next up is going to be the Grau 5.56. This is probably one of the most versatile weapons on Warzone at the moment. This weapon is absolutely deadly in every single way. This weapon has high accuracy, high damage, high range, a nice fire rate, and super high control, therefore making this weapon one of the most deadly weapons to use on Warzone. First attachment I like to use is the monolithic suppressor. This increases the range even more, so this weapon is going to have a super far range. And then next up is going to be the last barrel, which once again, this also increases the damage range, and as you can see, the range on this weapon is pretty high. Also, the control on this weapon is super high, the damage and accuracy is also super high, so this weapon is definitely going to be one of the best weapons you guys can use. Next up is going to be the first stock you unlock. This increases the aiming stability, therefore making you have more control when using this weapon, and it's going to be super helpful, especially in those long distance gunfights, because you're going to have more control over your weapon and your recoil should be a little bit less than normal, therefore your shots will be more on target. Next up, 60 round mags. Once again, 60 round mags are very, very helpful. This is going to help you with a lot of things, such as not having to reload, so I do strongly advise you guys sticking that on. Lastly, the Merc foregrip. This increases hip fire accuracy, which is actually helpful because sometimes you do have to hip fire in Warzone, and it also increases the recoil control, therefore just giving the weapon a lot better accuracy. Next up, HDR is the secondary. The HDR, like I said before, is one of the best snipers in the game, so you guys are just going to want to go ahead and stick on the same attachments as that I have previously talked about. So there they are if you guys want to go ahead and copy them again. It is completely up to you, by the way, of what attachments you stick on your HDR. It is completely up to you. On this, I use the same perks, apart from I use Battle Hardened. Battle Hardened, it makes you more immune to people's stuns, and this is going to be super, super helpful. So I do strongly recommend you guys doing that. Lastly, for the lethal and tactical, I use the same as what I've used on the previous classes. And then for the Odin, this is also a very good class. So for the Odin, this is the first attachment I use, the Colossus Suppressor, and then the Odin Factory 420mm. This increases the ADS speed and also the movement speed, therefore making this weapon a little bit more faster, because this weapon is kind of slow, so having a bit faster speed on this weapon is going to be helpful. Next up is going to be any sight of your choice. It's completely up to you what sight you do use on this weapon, but that one is my favourite. Next up is going to be extended mags. It's going to be super helpful on this weapon because this weapon actually has not much bullets in the magazine. Next up is going to be the Merc foregrip attachment. This increases the hipfire accuracy once again and the recoil control, and as you can see on this weapon, the damage is super high, the range is really high, and the accuracy is also really high, so you're going to be having super accurate shots with this weapon, and they also have a lot of power behind them. Anyway, the secondary on this weapon is going to be a bit different to the previous classes. So the previous classes have a sniper on them, but for me, this one, I'm going to use the .357. This is a Magnum pistol in the game. For the attachments, I recommend you guys using a Kimbo. I use you guys using Snake Shot and all of that kind of stuff. This attachment is really, really overpowered in this game. It makes these pistols basically a two-shot kill, even if they have full armor on. Especially if you have a Kimbo on, you can absolutely mount people at any time. So I do strongly recommend you guys sticking those on. For the attachments, once again, for the perks, once again, they are basically the same as what we have previously seen on the other classes, but this time I like to use Amped just to swap my weapons faster, because sometimes it's very helpful if you have to quickly swap your weapons to the pistol, so you can quickly whip it out and do what you have to do. For the lethal and tactical, once again, C4 and heartbeat sensor are very, very good. The C4 can wipe out a whole entire team in any vehicle whatsoever. Next up is going to be the Scar class. For this weapon, I like to use the lightweight suppressor. This suppresses my weapon, and it is super, super nice. You can, of course, go ahead and use a monolithic suppressor once you do have that unlocked. But as you guys can see, you're going to have to get this weapon to level 50 before you actually do unlock it. Next up is going to be the second barrel you unlock. This increases the damage range, bullet velocity and recoil control. As you can see on this weapon, the range is really nice, and also the accuracy is also very high on this weapon as well. So this is a very accurate weapon, and you're going to be able to kill people at all ranges with this weapon, so I do really recommend you guys giving this a go. As you guys can see, this weapon has super high range, once again, super nice accuracy, so you guys are going to be able to kill people at any ranges, and you should be getting all your shots on target with no problem at all. Next up is going to be the 4x flip hybrid sight. This has two different sights, one for close range and one for long range, which is very nice. I do like these sights, especially for Warzone. Next up is going to be the 25 round magazines. Now once again, once you do unlock these 30 round mags, I do strongly advise you guys sticking those on instead, because this weapon doesn't have that much bullets in the magazine. But next up is going to be the Merc foregrip for better recoil control and hipfire accuracy, giving this weapon a lot nicer accuracy. Once again, HDR, same attachments as we have previously seen, same perks for this class as well, and also the same lethal and tactical with the C4 and the heartbeat sensor. So one little thing as well, kill chain is very good on this, so you can use kill chain as well. This basically makes you have a higher percentage of finding score streaks in supply boxes, and therefore you will be getting a lot more score streaks in supply boxes, and you can save your money and not spend them on them when you go to the buy kiosk. So you're basically going to be getting free streaks. So this is a very nice perk to use, but like I said before, the perks are completely up to you. There's a bunch of nice perks you can use. Next up is going to be the FR 5.56 class. This is a burst weapon, and this burst weapon is very nice. First attachment I like to use is the tactical suppressor, and once again, just like every other weapon, when you do have the monolithic suppressor unlocked, I do strongly advise you guys giving that a go, because it will increase your damage range by quite a lot. Next up is going to be the first barrel you unlock. This increases your ADS speed and movement speed, therefore making this weapon have a little bit more mobility. The mobility on this weapon is actually usually quite slow, so this weapon is going to be nice with this attachment. Next up, the 4x flip hybrid sight once again, so you can have two different sights, the 50 round mags, and then a rear grip of your choice. Anyway, that has been it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.